Hey, this is Jeff again. I want to do a real quick shop talk with you. I have some questions. I do enjoy taking questions from the internet people. I have a tendency of being long-winded whenever I give answers in real life. And as you can see on my videos, I talk very fast on video to try to get everything in and help with people having low attention spans. So let's jump right into the questions here. What has been the most unexpected obstacle or situation you have faced in RE? The amount of dishonesty, a lot of that fake it till you make it attitude, which I kind of looked at a lot different whenever I first started out. I thought fake it till you make it meant like act as if you're the baller, you know, make sure you pay people well, tip your waiter, you know, everybody wants to do business with you because you got it going on. You got a lot of opportunities, you're sharing in those opportunities. People are going to think that about you. What I didn't realize was that there's a lot of people that fake it and never make it and wind up taking other people down with them. And it's unfortunate because most of the time, those people that are faking it till they make it don't have bad intentions. They're not trying to take advantage. They're not trying to screw people over. It just kind of is what happens along the way. And so it does make it a little bit more difficult because you can identify the people that are intentionally trying to take advantage of you after a while, but it's the people that genuinely mean well while also taking advantage of you without even realizing it, right? So you got to be very careful about the fake it till you make it people. People like me need direction. What are the absolute first 3 things people should do when getting RE that could help start their momentum? Well, the first thing that I would say if you're going to get involved in real estate is get involved with the workers. Like if you want to start a restaurant, you're going to need a good front of house manager, a good back of house manager. You're going to need to have great wait staff. You're going to need to have great cooks. You're going to have good suppliers. You're going to have good hostess. You're going to have all of these pieces, all of these people come together to have a good restaurant. The same thing is absolutely true. You need to get your team together and make sure that you have someone that's great at the construction part. You need to have someone that's great at the identifying and qualifying properties part, doing your comparables, doing that kind of stuff. You need to have all of these elements put together. And the sooner that you can start building that team instead of finding people that you can use to help you become successful, the better off you'll be. Too many people look at trying to find someone they can use instead of trying to find someone that they can benefit and knowing that those benefits will come back to them. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes you help people out and they do not help you back, and that's fine, because you know not to do work with them again, right? And they'll go off and they'll have to keep finding people, whereas you get to keep working with the same people. Another thing you need to do is make sure that one of the first people you find on your team, because it takes a long time, find an attorney that will handle the types of real estate issues that you might come across. You know, everything from closing to contract disputes, writing up, your agreements with contractors, anything like that. You really are going to need a lawyer in a lot of situations. Now, you don't necessarily need to get one that you pay some ungodly amount of money per hour. Just someone that you can check with and touch base with and just kind of verify the rules and the laws. That way you have someone that you can go to and that you have paid. And if you ever do get yourself into any kind of issue, you kind of have a crutch there of, hey, I got this advice from you. You're a professional. What you gonna do? So I know that's two kind of networking things, right? Like group, the lawyer should be in the group. But I think that the lawyer is a little bit different because it shouldn't be, your lawyer is not necessarily going to be in your inner circle. He's more going to be an outside advisory role. Honestly, learn the lay of the land, the area that you plan on doing real estate investment in. I don't really suggest people doing investments in other states and other cities and other places, especially when they first start out. One of the reasons is because you need to know the lay of the land. You need to really understand where things are, where people are going, what the movement within that area is. If you got new highways coming in, if you got new schools being built, any kind of thing like that you can really understand about the environment. Is change is always a reason for people to leave and a reason for people to come. Now, they might not come. I mean, you've got a landfill going in, maybe that's just a reason for people to leave. Change creates movement, and movement is where you can make money in real estate. So get yourself a team, make sure you're following all the laws and doing things the right way, and you're not getting bad advice, you're not signing bad deals. Have just a lawyer you can run stuff by, check things over. Having a lawyer on retainer and then paying them to go over some paperwork for 30 minutes for you is a pretty good deal. in the grand scheme of things. I know it's expensive. Sometimes it's a pain in the ass. I'm not a huge fan of attorneys, if I'm being completely honest. Not all attorneys, but I digress. I'm going to cut that part out. In social groups, you see people talking about the stress of not making progress and sitting in slumps with their deals. What is your advice in navigating your confidence and drive in this industry? One of the things that I see a lot happening is people are too involved in the project. They're too emotionally in it. They can't keep going because their contractors won't show up. Okay, we'll get a different contractor. Fire that guy. Pay them what they've done. Pay someone else to come in. If they mess stuff up and you got to get that stuff fixed, well then add up what that cost is, take it out of the first contractors and move on. Realtor's not listing your property, not marketing your property, get a new agent. Don't know what to tell you. All of these problems are solvable. And there's so many times that I see slumps where people just aren't doing movement, or there are solutions and they're just I don't want to attitude. Lower your price. You know, if nobody's buying it, then that's not what it's worth. That's just really what it comes down to. The value of things are only worth what people are willing to pay for them. And if nobody's running and jumping to buy your property, then as an investor, you did something wrong. Now you know how to fix it in the future if you figure out how to fix it on this deal. But if you just stay in that and you just don't try to solve it and you just sit in that slump and go, oh no, I'm stuck in this slump, you're never going to learn how to get out of it. And the last one that I had was about how to start your own family compound. I've had a lot of questions about this, and I think that it's a very interesting question. There's been a lot of negatives around building family compounds for whatever reason. I think the great thing about family compounds is that, one, you get a lot of advantages for being close to family and friends. You know, you get some tax advantages. There's a lot of the cost savings. Not only do you get a bigger spread, you get more privacy. Not only do you get all of those types of advantages from being on a big plot of land. Family farms have become more popular because the cost savings, the close-knitness to your family, having someone to babysit your kids for you, safety, security, all of those different reasons, right? I suggest, one, if you're going to do family farm, you need to make sure that, or family compound, you really need to make sure that your whole family is on board with whatever it is that that compound is going to do, right? If it's going to need to have a certain amount of maintenance done, make sure that there's everybody there in agreement, that you don't just assume that everybody's going to be willing to do the maintenance. Now that's all like inner workings of the family stuff that we don't need to delve into. Once we're outside of that though, you need to start investing your time and looking for properties that will allow you to do what you want to do, whether it's farming, whether you want to do like a campground situation, you want to do a side income, you just want your own income. Obviously, if you want this to be an income producing property, the closer to a major city, the closer to a town you are, the easier it's going to be for people to come out, for you to be able to ship off whatever your product is. There's lots of things to consider, but the number one thing to consider is, how do you want your layout? If you build it like a subdivision, everything's really close, everything's really consolidated, it'll be a lot cheaper because you have one road coming in with drives that go to everybody's houses, you know, maybe a shared septic system, shared well system. And some of those things are an option. You might be able to go to one part of the country and you can only have one septic per house. Other parts of the country, you can have 8 tiny homes on one septic. Or, you know, this community, you can have up to 14 properties with a well. This one, you can have more than that, but you have to turn it into a commercial well, which means doing water treatments and all that. So you really just have to kind of move things around. And that's the nice thing about a family compound, is obviously it's the bigger project. So you can negotiate a little more. It's kind of like when I talk about doing multifamily projects instead of single family homes. The bigger the project, the more negotiating power you have with everybody that you do business with. The family compounds are really just about finding the location you need to serve the needs that you have, and then finding out how you can best maximize your budget. Figure out what your total costs are. Total cost is $500,000 for 5 family members to all get onto a property. Then what you got to do is just start figuring out infrastructure. You got to start talking about all the different elements that you must have. And then once those are done, then you can start adding stuff like fences and gates and, you know, little sunshades or whatever it is that you want to do to have your little Highland cow be protected. If you want to do one of these family compounds, it's just like anything else. You just got to have good planning. You want to talk and have that conversation. I'm always open to it. I've helped with a couple of those. Most of the work is going to have to be done by yourself and your family, just because it's one of those problem-solving situations, but I am here to consult if there's something that you can need that I can help push you in the right direction at least. Those are all the questions I have. That's all the entirety of the video that I'm going to do. I appreciate you sticking with me. This is Jeff with Diva Hall Adventures, reguideservice.com, REIGUIDESERVS.com. Later.